Hey y'all, this week on Starting Roll, I'm here with
Liam McIntyre.
and Liam. Where people might have seen your work?
Let me see. Spartacus, The Flash, Star Wars Resistance, Gears of War, a bunch of stuff.
And we're talking about a little game called Spartacus. That really looks a lot like you.
I know, they got the likeness just...
I mean, Liam,
Hello.
how's it going, man?
It's going really well. How are you?
Welcome to Starting Roll.
I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. So you are on the box of the game. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way.
Get out of the way. Let's get out
right
of
here.
the room, yeah.
Hold on, team. Right here on the front. Wait, we got to put your
Looks just like me.
because.
Except look at those pecs. God. A lot of Photoshop.
But no, it's great because it's interesting to talk to someone who's in acting, right?
Correct, yes.
But also enjoys things that are normally, I guess, I don't know if society would say that games are outside of Hollywood.
Well,
you know.
I mean, I don't think they are anymore. I mean, I've been a giant nerd my whole life, so like I started there. But it's weird to see actually, because I always found like things like The Big Bang Theory and stuff like that. I was always a little upset because when I was growing up, I was bullied mercilessly for being a nerd, basically.
Okay, sure.
And playing board games and not being the more conventional sporty type and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then. So I was always like, it's too easy for people now. You could be a nerd and it's cool and it's easy and people kind of like it now. We didn't have to go and do the work. You didn't have to do the work to get there. And and then this all happened where there's like people who are like, wow, he's like this guy. And I was like,
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I
And
could
it's
see
weird.
a little bit of resentment there, that you didn't. That now it's more accepted to be nerd.
Well,
in
yeah,
geek culture.
which
Geek
I'm
culture
glad.
is more mainstream.
Well, I'm glad. It's great. Like it's one of the nicest things because I always like when I first got this job. One of the parts of the contract which I found funny was that you had to go to Comic-Con. Like it was not optional. You had to
Okay.
go, and which was funny to me because I was like, "What? You think you need to persuade me to go to Comic-Con?" That was like my
Right.
dream from being a kid. And when you're in Australia, you're not going to Comic-Con in San Diego. So it was amazing getting to go for the first time in this capacity. It was like
Sure.
beyond your wildest dreams, but it was really interesting. I loved it. I met some really interesting actors through different convention circuits and stuff like that from all walks of life, and some who don't really get the culture, and that's
Sure.
fine, and because they're all real cool. I found it so cool that I would go there and get to see people who maybe can't be who they feel comfortable being in the real world, or
Sure.
don't get embraced for that,
Yep.
and they found a world and a community where they can be who they want to be, and it brings them such joy. And it's just like, to me, that's like the most heartwarming thing.
Sure.
It was just nice.
Well, and it's funny because acting
Yep.
is essentially D&D,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But on a much larger scale, where you actually get to LARP it out completely with cameras.
It's
and
funny,
lights.
right?
It's the same thing.
It's really funny. There's this weird disconnect between like super cool acting and just playing on the weekend playing a character, and
Sure.
it's essentially the same body of work. It's all people pretending,
Yeah.
and in being who they want to be or are told to be.
I guess I could see them say, most actors saying, "Well, I don't want to use my hobby to do what I do professionally all day. Right?
Yeah,
I want to do
well,
something different." But
I don't know. I wouldn't. I think it's great. But it's probably partially why I got into it, though. Although that said, I've only played D&D like one time, and I don't know why. I've only played D&D like one time, and I don't know. I've only played D&D like one time, and I don't know why.
what was the gaming scene like in Australia growing up?
I guess I didn't know, in the sense of like board gaming was something that my friends and I kind of discovered. I started with like Warhammer and things like that, miniatures, and
Yeah.
because I loved painting when I was a kid. That was the career I thought I was going to have before
Sure.
all this came along, and so that was a nice sort of hobby to like. I'm really good at painting a house now because I'm like detail oriented. So we'd play like a bunch of that, and I had an Eldar army and stuff like that. I think I've still got it somewhere. And we used to play 40K a bunch, and then it was weird. It was like we played it a lot, just my close circle of friends from school, and then one day we just never played it again. I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed. We're just like, that's it.
Is this like season 3 of Stranger Things, where you're like, "Can we just play D&D
Yeah.
now?" And your friends are into
Like,
getting
whatever
girlfriends.
to go, whatever
and
to go. Maybe it was that.
Yeah?
Could have been that. Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, it was funny. So we did that, and then we kind of moved to more conventional board gaming, and I think we started with Catan,
Sure.
which is a nice gateway. And then I think we started playing Munchkin.
Yeah.
Which was cool. That was like our favorite game for like 10 years. I remember I was playing Munchkin with my wife in New Zealand during Spartacus. And
Oh, I said Australia earlier. Oh, you said you were in New Zealand. All right,
did
good.
right, you did
I thought I got it backwards for a second. Whew.
Ooh, I was about to tip the whole. Watch out! Oh, no! So we played that there, and I think it was around about then or after that, then I started to like. You're really busy, and everything's on your phone or travel or all this sort of stuff, and you're playing with your friends online and things like that because you're in a different country and all that sort of thing. It just became really nice to sit down and play something that was real. Not that video games aren't real and stuff like that, but something that was like, you'd talk to people and you could talk about your day and you could talk about other things and you could also get involved with this and have some sort of tactile interaction.
Absolutely.
And work with each other and play around. And there was something really, I guess, fulfilling about that, like warming about that. So I was getting into more and more, I guess, higher level games, going to I started playing Waterdeep and realizing I really liked Euros and stuff like that, and that kind of strategizing and worker placement sort of thing.
Sure.
And then I remember when they said they were making a board game of Spartacus, and I was like, oh yeah, I played a few like official games, like I played
Licensed games.
Yeah. And they're not generally very good.
Well,
so let's see how that goes.
Sure. There's and on the publisher side of that, you get a lot of restrictions whenever you sign up for the license, right? Like, hey, it can't do this, or it can't be this, or it's got to fit this specific demographic, and we've got specific graphics that we want to put on the front, or you can only use screen grabs, or it really limits the way that you would normally make a game. So typically those games aren't as the designer doesn't have the same freedoms.
Totally, right? But I mean, like a game to design, because I've designed a game, Monster Lab, which we released, and we're designing another one because, I have too much spare time apparently. But it's like, just making one with no restrictions is hard enough just to create something that's fun.
Right.
And then trying to find something that's fun without with a bunch of parameters tacked on can be really hard. But yeah.
So wait a minute, you made a game?
Yeah.
I caught that, right?
Cool, yeah.
You just slid that right in. Is it still available? Can people still get it?
Oh, is it? What do we sell out? I actually have to check. I think we
sold out of his game that he made on Kickstarter.
Sucks, right?
You know what? But looping back, what's great about, for me personally, Spartacus? When obviously we met and we talked about this, and I was like, this is a really cool tie-in because when I played a lot of WoW.
Azeroth, sweet.
And I am of the golden renaissance. I didn't grow up playing board games.
Right.
And
well, so that's the thing. I was just hearing. I was like, this is
one of my WoW friends introduced me to board games, and he invited me to board game night, and I was like, I don't want to come play Monopoly. He's like, we don't play Monopoly.
No, it's not.
And we played Power Grid, and I loved it. And I was like, wow, this is great. And within that first little onboarding period of me playing board games, Spartacus was one of those games. And I remember thinking, this looks like a licensed piece of and I don't want to play it, And then we sat down and we played it.
I like that you'd never played many board games that you still already instinctually knew that it should have been bad.
License is garbage, right? And we played it, and the whole system, the systems are great, the game's great.
It's really good.
It's really great, and it is a cult classic because of that. Like, this is a reoccurring theme. Even if you go on like to Board Game Geek and you read threads about Spartacus,
it's got like every element. It's so funny. Every game that we've tried to make, there's like times where we'll be like, well, I mean, you know how Spartacus has like the gambling component or something like that, where you can win by spending gold, or there's like that intrigue where you can kind of screw each other, but not too much, just or like try to manipulate the system. But there's also a combat element, so it's like kind of you're like Warhammer. You've kind of got like a little Warhammer light there,
and
then you've got a really great dice mechanic of like reducing dice as you take wounds and stuff like that, and then you've got. If I guess it's not a worker placement game exactly, but there's a lot of elements and like resource management. Whereas if you have too many gladiators, it's good, but then you have to spend more money on upkeep, and then they can level up and things like that. So there's all these like
just talking about it makes me want to play it again.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta get this back out.
It's gonna take a minute. We're back in 3 hours.
Be back next week for our playthrough of Spartacus.
Oh my God.
What's funny, Spartacus, like my son knows you as the Weather Wizard because he is a huge Flash fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So he's watched every Flash episode.
Amazing.
We started watching Smallville.
Great show. Oh, Smallville's fantastic.
But I forgot that Smallville isn't really appropriate for a 10-year-old. There's a whole lot of teenage humping going on, right? And so I was like, okay, wait, let's pull this back.
Show us Spartacus.
And so then he started watching Flash again a few weeks ago.
It's a great show.
And literally just 2 nights ago, it was a couple of your episodes with Weather Wizard.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
That was a funny transition. Like there's so many surreal experiences where up until a point, if you go to a convention or something like that, you'd meet everybody. Everybody was there because Spartacus was on.
Right.
And so you're always like relating to people on a slightly more adult level. And then at some point, like, hey kid, why are you here? And they're like, oh, I saw you on the Flash. I'm like, oh, I got to rethink everything. We can't. There's a lot of stuff that okay, cool. And then you sort of adjust to being like in kids shows or like younger shows, younger skewing shows, and then you'd be like, oh, hi there, little guy, how you doing? You watch The Flash? And he's like, no, I watch Spartacus. I'm like, you should not. Where's your father? And it was just this strange, these strange experiences.
Well, it's funny that because you mentioned earlier about a board game and you're designing more games. So that's apparently that's just something that you do, right? It's a natural outpouring of yourself.
You know, it's really funny because Erin, my wife's always like, you need to relax sometimes. I'm like, I'll be like up at 3 a.m. going, I set an idea for a game. I'll write it down. There's a really strange moment recently. I was in Japan with some buddies. We were like on my Australian friends. We decided to have like a kind of a reconnection trip away. It was great. And one of my buddies is a psychologist, and the other one's a teacher. And they were talking about different challenges of being a teacher, and how there's like different kids having different needs, and like dealing with ADD and stuff like that. And I was just interested. So I was like, how do you know if a kid has ADD if you're a teacher, if you're not a medical professional? And my psychologist friend was like, oh, well, I mean, the signs that we tell the kids are this, and this, and this, and this. And I was like, me. What are they again? I was like, huh. I'm like, and I don't know if that means I have ADD, but I was like, I think it explains a lot. I don't have the ability to not have lots of ideas. So I generally.
So you were born to be a creative. Like you're going down this path whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah, I did a business degree because it seemed like the smart thing to do.
Sure.
And it really was. I'm really grateful it happened.
Sure.
There were times when I was starting acting, going, oh, if only I had like 4 more of those years back. Instead of getting that degree, I could have been acting, and maybe I would have got further than I have at the time or whatever it was. But I'm really glad, especially now, I'm glad that I understand money and things like that. So it's really helpful to have that. And degrees are really good to teach you how to understand and filter knowledge a lot, I found. Yeah. More than the actual things you learn, it's a good way of learning how to learn.
I am the smartest man alive!
This has been awesome. Like, I think one of the things I'd like to put a bow tie on this is like, what that kid, Liam the kid, who was bullied, right? Now that you've grown up and you've got to live out your self-proclaimed nerddom, geekness, like what do you tell that kid who's getting bullied right now, who's a nerd?
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's really strange. I don't wish bullying on anyone because it's abhorrent. But having had to go through it, I am a better person now. It's not true of everyone, and everybody's situation is hard, and mine was in no way the hardest.
Sure.
But if you can try to make friends, try to meet good people around, have good people around you, try to find like love in any form in your life, whatever you need to do to find it. You know, whether it's through parents, siblings, friends, anywhere.
A board game club.
Yeah, like a club or a community or something like that. Something to, because you can't control what other people do, really. So if somebody wants to bully you for something dumb, there's only so much you can do to control it. And it's not fun, but it teaches you a lot about yourself and how to be strong and how to be powerful if you let it. Again, like you said, with D&D, you could spend, if you roll a bunch of 1s, you can spend your life hating it. Or you can find a way to turn that 1 into a 6 or a natural 20. Is that right?
Sure.
Yeah, again, like we're about to have a child, we have a little boy, which is really exciting. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And but it's it's that same thing. I'm like, what if my kid gets bullied? Like, I don't want to be. I'm not okay with that.
Right.
But I also want to be able to sort of tell him, I'm like, look, I'll do everything I can to help, but know that it's going to be okay, and you can get through this, and you can do wonderful things, and it's not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of other people and who they want to be.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people that try to separate themselves out and be alone to try and insulate themselves from the pain and the damage and the hurt from stuff like that. And I've never personally found an experience where like people, either myself or people I know, have found that to be a more beneficial version of how to live out life. There are obviously times where you need space, and
Sure.
that's very valuable. But
But lean on people.
yeah, like the song says.
Yeah. Well, Liam, how if the audience wants to follow you, what's some of the best? Where do you live life on the social medias?
On the socials, on the gram, I'm on. Oh, geez, what is it? Hang on, where's my phone? I looked out there. Okay, so at Liam _ I'm gonna say J _ McIntyre. That's the Twitter.
Okay.
And then, because I guess I didn't get it in time because I wasn't thinking ahead, Liam.J.McIntyre. Seamless. At Instagram, or at
On the IG.
On the IG. I think that's all I'd have, because who has time?
Well, Liam, I think we need to maybe play a little Spartacus.
I feel like I could do that.
All right. Well, my dude's attacking your dude. I think that's my starting gladiator.
What do you guys? All right.
How many defense do you have there?
Oh, look, I have Spartacus.
Oh,
Who
actually.
knew?
Oh.
Who knew?
Well, he's got 4 defense. That's not good.